Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Please subscribe if you haven't yet already. It is a red box. Looks like this on the screen, but it's beneath me somewhere. And if you click that, you'll be subscribed. There's also a white bell near that, next to it, I think. And if you click that, you'll get an alert every time I upload new content, which is awesome. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That would make me very happy. Today's video is this look. Again, focusing on mostly drugstore. The one exception being that I'm using the Ordinary as a primer, but everything else is drugstore. Focusing on the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette and talking about episode 8 of season 7 of American Horror Story Cult, The Winter of Our Discontent. So if you would like to see how I got this look and hear a little bit of a chat about that episode, please keep watching. All right, I've already moisturized. I've already gone in with my Milani Make It Last setting spray. Now I'm gonna go in with Palladio Herbal Eyeshadow Primer. I've never used this, but I have heard good things about it. It's been a while. I feel like maybe it was Elle Fowler, All That Glitters 21, who used to talk about this, and she hasn't done beauty makeup in a long time. So I think for this installment, I will be going chronologically. So we open it up with Kai at the house, and some of the fascists are leaving, and Dr. Rudy shows up. And I do believe at this point we can be clear that he wasn't aware that Kai was a cult leader. Gonna go in with the crease color in my crease. This is a little more shimmery than I'm typically inclined to use on my brow bone. Well, it's not that shimmery now that I'm looking at it. So, yeah, it is actually pretty shimmery, but that's okay. I'm only gonna use this palette today. So yeah, it seems like it's clear that he did not know that Kai was leading a cult, and more disturbingly, didn't know that Kai was crazy. And then the smaller Real Techniques brush with the definer color. So, and that's troublesome, that, and it is kind of the, I guess when you're around something often enough, it makes me think of the parable of the frog being boiled. And the notion that if you, I'm gonna go in with the green eyelid color, the notion that if you put a frog in boiling water, the frog would jump out. But if you put a frog in cold water and then boil it, the frog stays in and gets boiled alive. And I kind of wonder if that is kind of what was happening for Dr. Rudy and also for Winter. Because I mean, like with anything, like with a bad relationship, with chronic pain, with any of those things, I think that, you know, I don't think I've told the story before that my appendix ruptured, and I had my lady pains were so bad back then that I didn't notice that it was rupturing. And that was when I was maybe 7 years ago, and it wasn't like all of a sudden my lady pains got so bad that I didn't notice the pain getting bad. It was that the pain got gradually worse over time. So by the time my appendix was rupturing, the pain from my lady pains was masking the pain of my appendix rupturing. And I kind of think that's what's happening here. I'm gonna go in with the definer brush with with my little MAC brush with the definer color, which is a really pretty duochrome. Very similar to MAC Club, just on the outside. And so yeah, Dr. Vincent shows up at the house and says that he's saying that, oh, well, so I noticed that Dr. Vincent tries to give Kai alcohol. And Kai says no because he needs to stay sharp, which I guess you can stay when you're on a lot of Adderall. I'm gonna do my foundation first because I'm gonna use a specific eyeliner today, and I'm going to time it with where it is in the story. So hang in there for a second. Wet n Wild foundation, and it still smells like paint. I don't like that, but there we are. And I'm using the new Real Techniques, supposed to be kind of like the, what is the name of that fancy company? There's a fancy company that makes brushes like this. I'll put it on the screen, actually, is what I'll put it on, the name of that company. And yeah, so Kai and Dr. Vincent are talking, and Dr. Vincent says, I was ashamed you'd done so much. I was ashamed. It's like, why I didn't go to the hospital, why I only sent you an edible arrangement in the hospital. I don't know if he is, because he says that Kai is really doing some great stuff and he wants to be there and help him and support him, but I hope it's really just that he thinks that Kai is crazy and is trying to kind of get close to him without scaring him off. I'm gonna go in with my concealer now. This is my Lasting Perfection Concealer in Light. This brand does not have a good color range, unfortunately. I think they only have like 4 or 5 colors, and the dark color is not very dark. So I hope that they end up coming out with a wider color range. Although they've been around for a long time. They used to be called Collection 2000, the dawn of the millennium. So then and then they're hugging each other, and then Dr. Vincent does look strained. I do apologize too. I have most of my windows closed. It is hot here. It's a late October kind of heat wave happening here. And our apartment is just not going down. It's still up at 79 and it's after 6 o'clock at night. Go in with my Bourjois rice powder under my eye. Not just under the one. Okay. Yeah, and then they're hugging and he says that, call me councilman from now on. Kai is just bonkers. So then we're in the restaurant and Milani Blush and Luminoso. The fascists are being very misogynistic and saying that she'd be prettier, Ivy would be prettier if she smiled. Ivy goes back into the kitchen and says, I can't put up with this much longer. I'm being treated like a servant in my own restaurant. How did this handmade shit even happen? 48 hours ago, we were on the verge of toppling the patriarchy. And Beverly says that was before the goddamn army. So I'm actually curious as the season progresses to see how much time has progressed. I do really want to do a complete comprehensive timeline in the end. Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. And then we see the night before the council meeting where the council votes in to have the fascists kind of patrol, which is just unfathomable to me, but okay. And then we're back in the restaurant and Beverly wants to take everything down, but Winter says you can't. It's a suicide mission. It's all a part of the larger plan. And Kai saved my life. And then we go into a flashback from 2 years ago. And now I'm going to start using my eyeliner because I'm going to use my Jesse's Girl eyeliner. Rick Springfield. Wow. Seen him act before. I mean, he was Dr. What was his name? I'll put it on the description box down below. He was in General Hospital. But yeah, he's been an actor before, but wow, that was intense. So Jesse's Girl eyeliner on my lid, and probably come back in later with my NYX to kind of darken that up. But yeah, I think I need to be using my Jesse's Girl today. So they're on the dark web 2 years ago and they are trolling and they find this guy that basically has this house of horrors, a haunted house kind of a thing, but of real people, of people that he thinks are being sinful. And that was pretty startling and pretty disturbing. We see the woman who is tied up because he found her at an abortion clinic. And all the while he's just screaming all of this stuff from his pulpit. And so the woman who supposedly had an abortion but actually had a UTI, the man who was a drug addict but was in rehab, and then the guy who was volunteering at the AIDS clinic. And it looks like the Watchman, Pastor Charles, was going to kidnap Winter and Kai saves her. And I don't know if it seems like that's the reason why she's saying that he saved her life, but it seems like there must be a lot more. I hope there's a lot more going on than that. And then they get everybody untied and they capture the pastor, they capture the Watchman, they capture Rick Springfield. And it seems like the people, especially the women who had the UTI, want to call the police and kind of get him prosecuted. But Winter is the one who says to kill him. So that's interesting. And I'm wondering, well, I have things that I'm wondering about that I'll talk about in the end. I'm gonna go in with Sleek Highlighter in Subsolar. So yeah, apparently everything changed after Dr. Charles is when he started popping all the Adderall. And I do want a timeline for all of this. And I am wondering if Kai was getting all the Adderall from Dr. Vincent. I forget what the prescription pad said later, but it didn't say Rudy. I think it didn't say Rudy Vincent. I'll look at that and put it on the screen when Samuels was with Kai, what that said. Brows, I'm going to go in with HD Brows. I'm going in with the Vamp Kit. I think I'm just going to go in with dark brown. I haven't used this in a while. This is probably, it says 24 months. I know I've had it longer than 24 months, but it's my eyebrows. I'm sure it'll be fine. So then also it's clear, because Winter wants to talk to him, and it's clear at that point, Ivy, the way that she kind of holds her and says, you know, I know, baby. It's clear that Winter and Ivy are together now. And then Beverly says she's going to give it a week, and if after a week things aren't different, she's going to come for him, and you better get the hell out of my way. It's a little dark, but that's okay. Well, so is this show. Oh my God, and then Winter comes over to talk to Kai, and that's when he starts talking about the baby. Okay. Okay, and then, and he does interrupt the pinky power, which is interesting, and they're not holding pinkies anymore when he starts talking about the baby, which is interesting. Don't know that we know for certain what the pinky power thing is supposed to represent, but they were not holding pinkies when they started talking about the baby. Then we are back at Allie's house with Dr. Vincent, and he is basically coming to Allie and telling her the truth, and that Kai is dangerous, and that he's gonna do whatever he has to do to bring her back her son, which is more than a little late. We learn that, and I do believe that Kai broke into the office and accessed the files. And Dr. Vincent says to Allie, trust me. And she says, how in the hell am I supposed to trust you? You spent years under the same roof and you're just now realizing that your brother's a psychopath. And then Dr. Vincent says, I'll have him prosecuted or committed if it comes to that. Then we are with the Winter and Samuels show, which is just, it's crazy. I don't want to label, but it's crazy, right? I think I can label Kai and say that he's crazy. She says, I can't believe I was at the Women's March 3 months ago, which puts them in April of 2007. So this must have all happened very quickly after he got shot. I swear by All for One, there's just too much going on here. So they're attempting to do it, and Samuels can't do it. And Winter gets off the bed, and actually before that, because Kai's talking about the All for One song, and that's the song that will be playing every time a Messiah is conceived, which is, and then wrong on a lot of levels. And then Winter says, isn't the whole point of a Messiah that there's only one? And then Kai shushes her. And then she's on the bed and Samuels is attempting, and then he can't, and then she gets off the bed and she says, this is screwed up. This is too screwed up even for you. And I feel like I'm being raped, because she kind of is. Although she did concede to it, but I don't know if really she was in the right state of mind to be able to do that. And Samuel suggests that he can maybe finish off in a receptacle and they can turkey baste her. And Kai says, no, it must be done like this. This is a holy ritual. And then Winter says, that you came up with this afternoon, this is all bullshit, which is true. Then we are with Winter, who is putting the recycling back onto the street because Kai does not believe in global warming. Sorry, that was preemptive. I'm going back to my notes. The next scene is dinner at Allie's. Going to powder with my Essence All About Matte powder. I'm going to spray with Milani Make It Last. I'm going to throw on some NYX Butter Gloss, and then I'm going to dive back in with my notes. This is in Madeline. Back you out a little bit. All right, so the next scene is at Allie's house. And again, I was thinking, why is she always answering her door? But this time she knew who was coming. And it is the councilman. And dinner's almost ready. Leftist salads with quinoa and green goddess dressing. I'm making sloppy joes because a sandwich is a sandwich, but a manwich is a meal. And basically, Allie just is not scared anymore. She's kind of moved beyond the point that she's scared of anything, which is really intense and awesome, I think, unless she's going off the deep end too. Not sure where everything's heading. Get back to that at the end. And she wants to have her son back, and she is in exchange for her son, which is what she's asking Kai to promise, she says that Dr. Vincent is going to try to get you committed. And so the justification that she uses for this is, and it's true, if for some reason your plan to take over the world doesn't work out, your stink will be all over him, unless he can prove that he tried to stop you. So that's a real legit reason why Kai should believe that he might actually do that. Then we're back to Winter and the recycling, putting the recycling on the street, the lunch, and then we have the flashback with Kai and Samuels, when Samuels came across Kai selling drugs, or selling drug prescriptions. I wasn't sure if he was selling drugs or drug prescriptions. And Winter says, "You blackmailed my brother, you're a cop, you're not a cop, you're a criminal." And Samuel says, "I don't know what I was." And then we go to Samuel's house, I guess when Kai is going to be dropping off some drugs or servicing him. And he's in there with a woman who he apparently can only maintain an erection when he's choking her, which is super duper. And the woman leaves, thank God, unscathed physically, or at least alive. And then we have this conversation between Kai and Samuels about sexuality and kind of the continuing, you gotta lean into your masculinity, and that sex is different between men because there's no energy drain, you're building on one another exponentially. You've been giving it up your whole life. It's time that you got some back. And then we're back in the car, and Samuel says, "That's why I follow his rules." Winter says, "Dude, you're totally gay." And it's just, I don't know why he can't, I don't know. He's internally homophobic, I get that, but you're wrong, you're missing the goddamn point. It's so much more complex than that. And then he's going to rape her, and she says, "You can't even get it up," and he says, "Oh, I know how to get it hard," which I'm assuming means that he's gonna strangle her, because that's how he was able to maintain an erection in the flashback. And then she breaks free, and then we see her shoot him. We see the blood on the car. Then we are back in the basement, and I'll put a link down below. I'm getting dialogue from somewhere, not a full script with directions, but I am getting dialogue from somewhere, and it's super duper helpful, and I'll put that in the description box down below, because the men are chanting when he's coming into the room, "Divine ruler, divine ruler." And it's Dr. Vincent and Beverly, and Dr. Vincent and Kai are pinky swearing, and Dr. Vincent is saying that he loves him and will protect him and all of those things that, I think he really just knows he's going to be killed and is doing whatever he can to get out of it. And they do a pinky swear, and he cuts off his finger. Kai cuts off his finger in the middle of it, and then he sees Winter. Oh my God, it's so much. And then Beverly. So Dr. Vincent is dead, and Kai wants him out of the room. And then Beverly. Kai to Beverly, "I had such plans for you, you pissed it all away." Beverly, "Why, what are you talking about? What did I do?" Kai, "You know what you did." Samuels deserved a lot better than to get a cheap bullet to the head. And so it turns out that Winter told Kai that Beverly was the one that shot Samuels. And then we see a flashback from a different perspective. And I don't know which is true. I don't know which of these flashbacks, any of these flashbacks to trust for anybody. "I chose you, Beverly. I trusted you. I made you my equal. Why did you betray me? You betrayed me. One day you promised me equal partnership." This is Beverly, obviously. "The next day you had me in a gulag baking fucking cookies. Your promises mean shit. You're a fake. You don't stand for a goddamn thing." Kai says, "I'm standing up for millions of people who are finally being heard. Everything I do is in service for a greater purpose. It's bigger than anything in our lives, and you're fucking it up." Beverly says, "Nothing is bigger than your ego. You don't know what the fuck you're doing from one minute to the next. You're incompetent, Kai. Just another attention whore." And he probably just is really, really, really mentally ill, and it's not helping that he's taking so much Adderall. "And if you're insecure enough to believe Winter, well then just kill me now. Please put me out of my misery, because the biggest mistake that I ever made was believing in you." And then Kai says, "You were my favorite, but death is too good for you. I want you to suffer. Take her to the isolation chamber. Rotten hell, you son of a bitch. Loyalty must be absolute. Without it, we have nothing. Now we can move forward." Oh, and "Rotten hell, you son of a bitch" is what Beverly says right before they put the gag back on her. "Now we can move forward. Let's all welcome our newest member." Dun dun dun! Oh my God! Okay, and then the preview for next week, I think it's called Drink the Kool-Aid. Seems like we're gonna see some Jim Jones and a really kind of weird scene in the preview with Kai and Oz at the table with some Kool-Aid and the questions that I have for this week are, what is Allie doing in the cult? What are her motivations? Obviously she wants Oz back, but beyond that, like what's happening with her choice to be in the cult? Where's the isolation chamber? I really hope we're not going to lose Beverly. I hope that Beverly is going to persevere. And I feel like she might, especially because often in movies, when they do something that's worse than death and they kind of put someone away, ultimately it's because the person's going to survive, which fingers crossed, fingers and toes, I can't cross my eyes, but fingers and toes crossed that Beverly perseveres. Still I'm wondering about Bibi. Didn't see her again, but I feel like I've heard that we're going to see Frances Conroy again. Still wondering about Oz's father. Still wondering about what's really happening with Kai. And is it mental illness? Which it just seems like it is. It really seems like it is. And the Adderall's not helping. So wow, this was an episode for sure. Thank you so much for watching. I am sorry if the sound was crappy, but I am hot and have one window open, and I also am just trying to work on my sound a little bit. So thank you for being patient, and thank you for being here today and for joining me. A lot to do on YouTube, a lot to do in the world, and I really appreciate that you took some time to spend with me today. Take care, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.